Alright, the LA Chargers might just be the team to watch this season, and here's why. They have really outsmarted the rest of the NFL with their shocking moves. Right now, with a 6-3 record, a top-ranked defense, and some game-changing player comebacks, they're turning heads and making waves across the league. But with recent injuries to key players, the stakes are higher than ever. So, what's behind this sudden surge? How far could these moves actually take them, and how are they tackling these injuries? Let's break down the Chargers' latest strategies and see why this team might just have what it takes to outsmart the rest of the league. What's up, everybody? If you're just finding us, hit that subscribe button. We're your home for everything AFC West right here on this channel. If the playoffs started today, they'd be right there in the mix. And honestly, this transformation didn't just happen overnight. It's been in the works since the offseason, and now it's playing out right before our eyes. The Chargers' journey has been something we can't ignore. They're at 6-3, things are rolling along, and get this, they're ranked number 1 in the NFL for scoring defense. In fact, in a lot of defensive categories, they're sitting comfortably in the top 5. Now I know some people are quick to point out that most of their wins have come against teams with sub-500 records. Fair enough, but here's the thing. They're 6-3. In the NFL, you are what your record says you are, and 6 wins don't come by accident. So let's break down how this all came together. The Chargers started with a decisive move. They decided to part ways with Brandon Staley. That's step 1. And here's why these matters. Look at teams like the Bears, who kept Matt Eberflus around instead of going for a fresh start. It's like they're stuck in limbo, holding on to a situation that's not working. They could have gone bold, maybe even tried to bring in someone like Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he's got ties to the Midwest, sure, but there's something about the West Coast that seems to fit him too. So, in my opinion, it makes sense that Harbaugh ended up with the Chargers instead. So, Staley's out, and in comes Harbaugh. Now, let's remember who else made coaching changes recently. The Raiders, for example, promoted Antonio Pierce from interim to head coach. Pretty questionable, right? How often do you see that work out? You fire your head coach mid-season, elevate an interim or assistant, and expect a turnaround just because everyone's hyped up around a new guy in the role. Players might rally around an interim coach like Antonio Pierce in the short term, but let's be real. If he was out in the open market, would any team hire him as their head coach? Probably not. But the Raiders? They just went ahead and did it. Honestly, it feels like a shaky formula, one that isn't setting them up for success. Then there's Dave Canales with the Panthers. Same story. It's just not working. Or take Brian Callahan with the Titans. He's in his first year and already struggling. This trend of fresh hires that don't quite fit goes on. Raheem Morris? He's actually doing pretty well, so there's an exception. And Mike Macdonald started strong, opening with a 3-0 record, but since then, things have taken a nosedive. You've also got Dan Quinn with the Commanders, a solid choice. DeMeco Ryans? Another good one, though he wasn't a part of this hiring cycle. We're talking about a mixed bag here. Only a few of these recent hires are even close to the impact Jim Harbaugh is making for the Chargers. And then there's the Bears. They kept Matt Eberflus around, and it's been total chaos ever since. One quick search on Eberflus, and it's clear the team's in disarray. It's all talk of upcoming changes, adjustments after every loss, and scrambling to see who will go in next. Now, compare that to the Chargers. With Harbaugh in the building, they've established a whole new culture. He walked into a situation with good players already in place, but he's elevating it. Suddenly, the defense is settling down, Justin Herbert's healthy, and the offense is firing with reliable weapons. Whether it's Mack, the receivers, or the whole roster, Harbaugh is taking them to the next level. For the past 5 hiring cycles, Jim Harbaugh was the obvious choice for any team looking to turn things around. A total no-brainer. Here's a guy coming fresh off a national championship, a coach with a track record of winning wherever he goes. You'd think teams would be lining up to bring him on board. I mean, if teams like the Bears were really serious about making a change, they would have done whatever it took to get him. Imagine if the Chiefs drop a couple of games and the Chargers pick up a few more wins. Suddenly, you're looking at just a 1-game gap between LA and that coveted division title. Win the division, and boom, you're hosting a playoff game. It's wild to think about, right? But this is exactly why the Chargers have managed to outsmart the rest of the NFL. They've been patient, made the right moves, and now the path to the top is within reach. They already had their quarterback in Justin Herbert, and they went out and grabbed one of the best coaches available in recent years. That's the kind of move that sets you apart in the NFL, the type of decision that could define a season or a whole era. Now look at the playoff picture. The Chargers are right there, just behind the Ravens for the first wild card spot. The Steelers? Somehow, they're sitting at 7-2. Nobody saw that coming. And the Texans? They're at 6-4, putting up a fight. But here are the Chargers right in the mix and ready to make their move. And then there's the Broncos. Man, if you're a Chargers fan, you've got to feel pretty pumped right now. So let me know in the comments. How are you feeling about this season so far? It hasn't exactly been a flawless run, and sure, most of the wins have come against teams with losing records. But hey, that's the NFL. Any team can slip up, but the Chargers, they've hit the ground running under Jim Harbaugh. He's completely shifted the culture here, and he's brought out the best in an already talented roster. Let's talk about some standouts from the past few games. First up, Tuli Tuipulotu on the edge. This guy is a beast. Against the Titans, he left the field as the highest-graded defender for the Chargers. And here's the impressive part. Tuli went into Week 8 against the Saints with 0 sacks. But since then, he's racked up 5.5 sacks over the last 3 games. That's the kind of impact you love to see. Then there's Khalil Mack, still playing at a high level, and Joey Bosa, who's been dealing with some injuries, but when he's in, he makes his presence known. These guys are crucial to keeping the defense strong, especially in a season where every game counts. And then there's Justin Herbert. I mean, this guy is the real deal. For some reason, I always thought he was smaller, but he's not. He's huge, strong, powerful, fast, and athletic. Plus, he's got an absolute cannon for an arm, and he's a fan favorite for a reason. When you look at this team, you've got the coach and you've got the quarterback. Those two pieces alone, that's a winning combo right there. And let's not forget about Gus Edwards, who's back in action. He is getting healthy, which adds some serious depth to the backfield. And Hayden Hurst, who's ready to step up. There are so many players on this roster who bring something special to the table. The potential here is massive. The Chargers have a lot of pieces in place to keep pushing forward. There's more good news on the return front, though. Wide receiver DJ Chark Jr. made comeback after recovering from a groin injury in Week 10 against Titans. His presence adds depth to the receiving core, which could be a huge asset as they head into the season's final stretch. The running backs are solid, the offensive line is coming together, and here's the kicker. The Chargers are in a division with, well, don't think I'm crazy, but a beatable Chiefs team. Yeah, I know it sounds bold. The Chiefs have been a powerhouse for so long that it's hard to picture them as anything but dominant. But this season, they're just not looking like the unstoppable juggernaut they used to be. So, what do you think? Is this the year the Chargers break through? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It's been a season of smart moves, big comebacks, and a whole lot of potential. The Chargers are doing everything right, and it's all playing out in front of us. Can't wait to hear what you all think, and I'll catch you in the next one.